Hello, I'm Chef Diane DeMeo, and today's date night recipe, I'm going to make a po' boy with some fried crab cakes and deep fried oysters. Yes. I was inspired by Lady Rosie's over at iHeart Recipes because she does her own po' boy with some fried shrimp. Now let's get cooking. We have our delicious hero bread, very fresh and nice. I have some already shucked oysters, and if you want to learn how to shuck some oysters, check out the bootleg tips on how to shuck oysters. An egg wash, which is 1 egg with some water, an egg, some mayonnaise, fresh crab meat that I plucked out of those shells for hours upon hours upon hours. I have flour, panko, a little bit of Old Bay seasoning, and my sandwich garnishes. The first thing that I'm going to do is get my crab cakes going because generally speaking, you want to let your crab cakes rest for about 30 minutes prior to getting them into that frying pan. So, what I have the 1 egg going in with about 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise and about a handful for me, small hands, of panko, which translates into maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons. Mix it all together. I'm going to give it a nice dash of some Old Bay seasoning, and if you don't have this on hand, use a little paprika, some seasoning salt, or just don't use it at all. I like it. I like the taste. In it goes. Mix it together. And I always mix everything together first. Why? Because it's evenly distributed when I add my crab meat in. Here we go. Now, the key thing here is that when you add your crab meat, you want to fold it in. Why? Because we like super big chunks of crab meat, not all like fine, yeah. No, we want chunks. So there you go. There it is. Here, okay. Fold it in, and a fold is just flipping it over. Look at that, nice and creamy. This is what's gonna bind my crab cakes together. And then I'm gonna roll them. My gloves. I just love putting these on. And I'm gonna take this into a nice little ball. And once I let it rest for about 30 minutes, these crab cakes will firm up and take a great shape. Oh, they already got a great shape. They will firm up and be easy to fry. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of them. Okay. Those bad boys done. And into the refrigerator they go. Now, we have our oysters. Using the same flour, that's fine. We have my egg wash, flour, and panko. In go my oysters. Get a nice coating on that. Then dip it into my egg wash and straight into my panko. And repeat till done. In, around, out. Now, if you don't want to shuck the oysters, but I recommend that you do, you can always buy a jar of oysters and remove the liquid from it, rinse them off so they're not so salty, and you can have them. It'll be the same, because fried oysters are super tasty. All right, and there it is. Panko crusted oysters ready for the fryer, and I will be right back. Now, one of the key things to frying anything is having the perfect frying temperature, which means in and around 370, 375. Anything lower, what happens is it becomes a soggy mush and takes too long to cook. Anything higher, the outside burns and the inside is not done. Now, if you don't have a thermometer, one of the best ways that I've learned, an old trick in Asian world, or for me anyways, is you take a wooden chopstick and you insert it into the oil. Now, if bubbles start to gather around it, as you see is happening, that means your oil is ready. Now, I'm going to put in my crab cakes first because they took a little longer to cook than the actual oysters, and we're using the same oil. I'm just using regular canola oil. And once I flip these bad boys over, then I'm going to go ahead and add my oysters. One thing I want to say is that generally, I at home will always make sure that my oil will reach halfway up whatever food I'm frying, because that way it will cook it evenly when I flip it. For this, I would say for frying it, maybe 3 minutes on each side. Nice and golden brown. And in go my oysters. You never want to put too much into a pan. It'll take a lot longer for it to get up to the proper cooking temperature when you overcrowd your pan. So make sure that it's not overcrowded so it remains the same ambient temperature the whole time. Nice and golden brown. brown. These are almost done, about another 2 minutes for both. And we're gonna take these out and we're gonna plate our po' boy. I'm out of the fryer, back to the table, and we're gonna make ourselves a po' boy. Now I call this a board sandwich. Why? Because I'm doing it directly on my cutting board, and we're gonna leave it there because it's gonna taste just as good. So, cut my hero open. I like a lot of mayonnaise. You can use mustard. I'm not a big mustard person, but, well, that's up to you what you want to put in. In goes a big slather of mayo. I got my lettuce. And we're gonna layer in some tomatoes. Oh, yes. This is a sandwich. Okay, then we're gonna top it off with some delicious crispy oysters. Holy heckina! We're gonna top it off with a little bit of mayonnaise on here. Oh yeah! This is a po' boy with some crab cake, fried oysters, mayo, tomato, lettuce. We're ready to chow down on this puppy. And you gotta remember, Lady Rosie at iHeart Recipes does her own version of a po' boy with shrimp, so you might want to check it out after you make one of mine. Now it's time to do what? You got it. Well, let's take a bite. I bet you don't think I can do this either. All right. I'm not gonna wimp out for the heckin' proper way. Give it a good little smashy poo. Open wide. That is a bad mamma jamma sandwich. I'm sorry. One more bite of this delicious oyster. Okay. Panko extra crispy. Tomato, mayonnaise, lettuce with that hero, and that delicious crab cake. This sandwich was amazing, and I bet you're gonna think so also. And remember, you don't have to use the same mayonnaise that I did. You can go to Bootleg Tips and check out my flavored mayonnaise, sriracha mayo, and make any type of mayo that you want to. And I will see you next week with another super tasty date night dish. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, I am Chef Diane DeMeo, and welcome to Bootleg Tips. Today we are going to learn how to shuck an oyster. Let me tell you something, these bad boys are some aphrodisiac.